Hello, good evening, and welcome to another wonderful edition of Eye on Port. It is proudly brought to you by Goil Company Limited, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Serene Insurance, and media partners, the Business and Financial Times, as well as the Ghana Web, the Graphic Business, Business 24, a host of other media platforms, the Crusading Guide, as well as even the Observer as well. They're all part of Eye on Port, and if you get editions, copies of all those newspapers and the media platforms, you should read a lot about Eye on Port and all the maritime and port issues that transpire within this country and beyond. Folks, this week we're going to talk about a very important subject that we heard one of our colleagues engage some importer about. So basically it would be on a forfeited cargo, the issue of forfeiting your cargo after it's overstayed in the port and all of that, as against this whole notion that, you know, I brought goods into the port, the container is stolen. Is it really stolen? Is it possible that we can have a container stolen within the port that's full of security men, security equipment, and all of that? All of that we will interrogate with the personnel who are involved. We'll also bring you the video of the importer who claimed his cargo or container was stolen from the port, as he had conversation with my friend and brother Kofi Adoma on Wanwani. That's Kofi TV. So we'll play that video on this platform for you to digest it yourself and listen to the personnel who are going to also explain the issues to us. If you get a copy of the Business and Financial Times, the Thursday edition, you should read about the port and maritime industry. Also on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television, you should watch an abridged version of this program. My guest is already seated. I'll be back right after the break, and we'll continue the conversation.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
Welcome back to the program. As I mentioned to you earlier, we're going to talk about a forfeited cargo as against allegations of stolen containers at ports. Those allegations, whether there's some truth in that, whether containers are getting missing around the port from importers who have toiled and sweat and bring containers into the country, and they get into the port and they allege that the containers have been stolen out of the port. We'll take a look at the truth in that. We'll take a case study of an importer who is making that claim to Kofi Adoma Wanwani on Kofi TV. We'll deal with his claims, and we'll hear from the Ports and Harbours Authority, and we'll hear from Customs as well. You can always engage with us, and these days we just have an hour, so you may have to send your messages as the discourse is going on. The WhatsApp number should be displayed on your screen. It's 055-901-9177. That's a number that you can send your contributions to. In the meantime, the Ports Authority staff and union executives are donating and showing their love. Particularly, it's Valentine's Day today, the day to show a lot of love to those loved ones that you have. So the Ports and Harbours Authority, hardworking staff, have shown some love to orphanages.
The Senior Staff Union of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority at the Port of Tema has donated to the Shekinah Home, an orphanage in Dawa in the Greater Accra region of Ghana. The donation forms part of GPHA's Senior Staff Union in Tema Port's commitment to alleviate poverty and relieve the distress of the homeless.
Really, we are also trying to do what globally we are all doing in the world. The Sustainable Development Goal 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which 1 says no poverty, 2 said zero hunger, 3 is good health and well-being, and 4 quality of education, and the last one, gender equality.
The union donated food items like bags of rice, maize and gari, toiletries, detergents and sanitizers, among others, as their token of love to the children's home in the month of February. The chairman of the GPHA Senior Staff Union in Tema, Henry Quivi, said they are inspired to make such donations as a means of helping create decent livelihoods for the underprivileged in Ghana.
It is to go and bless the children and make sure that whatever intention, the purpose the owner of this home has, we support for her to achieve that. Basically, that's why the Senior Staff Tema decided to do this.
He called on other corporate entities to emulate such gestures, which will go a long way to help alleviate streetism and delinquency among the youth of the country.
It's not one man's job. We should all come together. So I would advise other corporate entities that they should also take up this challenge to locate other orphanage homes and extend their hands to them.
The head of the Shekinah Home expressed gratitude for the helping hand lent by the Senior Staff Union of GPHA, which will reduce her burden in efforts to give the children quality care. She also affirmed her commitment to ensure such contributions do not go to waste, but instead push her outfit to develop these children towards reaching their full potential.
Our expectation, from where we get them from on the street, it's not an ideal place for any child to be. So our expectation is for them to come here and grow and be the kind of children growing to reach their full potential.
Okay, so that was a wonderful gesture by the Senior Staff Union of the Ports and Harbours Authority. So you may also want to extend some wonderful gestures to your loved ones. It doesn't necessarily have to be the loved ones as you put it, So make some donations and help others, and I'm sure that it will be good. My guest in the studio is a Chief Revenue Officer in charge of the State House Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. His name is Mr. George Tete. Mr. Tete, pleasure to have you in the studio, and happy Valentine.
Thank you. Same to you.
The Valentine, what is it? This Valentine.
We came to meet it.
We came to meet it. So we are chopping some like that. But let me just take the opportunity to also wish a few people. Now that Mr. Tete says we came to meet and we are chopping, let me wish a few people happy Valentine. That includes the Assistant Commissioner in charge of the TEMA Sector Command. That is Mr. Eduche, right? Mr. Eduche, happy Valentine's to you. A very hard-working man. He's always at the office working, even on Sundays. Also, let me wish Mr. Cantum. Mr. Cantum, what's his first name? Mr. Julius Cantum. Very nice, fine man. Mr. Cantum, happy Valentine's Day to you as well. And the former Chief Executive Officer of West Blue Consulting, Madame Valentina Minta. It's your birthday today. She was born on the 14th of February, and happy Valentine to you. So I'm going to play a video of Kofi TV, a video from Kofi TV. And it was an interview conducted by my friend and brother, Kofi Adomawani, who is watching the program, though traveling. He's watching online and possibly will join us later on. He interviewed an importer who claimed that his container has been stolen out of the ports. Let's take a listen. We'll be back.
Kofi medam to me nakra ejima mede be 9 years ebie Ghana Port Authority for person almost say mejima almost say no nyese almost say mejima the distance we betumi ayi we no container maye abedru Ghana ama agent for di misika me buy no me kwachi agent for no committee 2 police station ena obi buy so be di manim I'm a container. One agent called Haruna. Odi menim ampa. You wure mwa na my container no duty dada. You could do baby. Almost container no. Almost they call ocean. Nti mi bisa me ho say container my ni duty no. Then almost they call ocean. Almost catch them say na your old system. Nti no kre me catch them say a old system or a new system. Hono momo problem esemona muhu container ya ye ne duty ni container ya nye ne duty midi akira kokuduru baby omo ka kira me se omo beton ocean chit no amami container ma ye ne duty no me san koto ocean chit no paper na me kura no ha me san koto ocean chit no free wo mo ho esan gina so ye container no duty ebiem
what can your first
my your first duty no
osa your duty biem
first duty nene me ko tu eska no wo Eco Bank first duty nene omo ka kire me se container na ko ocean na me ko to ocean chit nene awon issue ma me ni na me ko to ocean chit no me ko to ocean chit no omo ka kire me se ti se me san ekoye duty ne biem na me pe amanfo nyoma de ama omo nti me san koye duty ne biem me koye duty ne biem no omo issue ocean chit ne maame on the 1st February and am ko ekokotu eska no brako fi de ya na se me kotu eska no ewie am ko se me kwa akofam container no on the 29th and obi akoyi me container no port ho no
Davio nipa ni nkrata
oni nkrata because me na me kro original papers
no mentiase say first one no nkrata bill of lading ni bibia
bill of loading ni bra kofi bill of loading ni me ye container na me discan me agent na yi it is our container no agent ni discan no onti na pressure woman me free UK eyede e buy it nyoma yesa me ye no UK nyina no me stop me cars ni nyina obi anyere enya agima biem se ne be ya me di container wo yachi ne ma hu di etuem me buy na mbe chi agent no committee 2 me chi agent no committee 2 police station no ena Haruna no ebeberi agent ne so be di akire me anya chi a me chi no na me pe na me container no na me yere me hia me di akire na ekoduru se ese omoton container na san omo di caution na nko mo ni rat so mo di caution na me pe me agimani eyi enti me bo sika na matua na dada no yere eguye ena me san ekotua sika foforo me kotua sika foforo no wie no omo ma me chete ne se me enko duty me se gina so ye duty no It's on the third me kwa kofam on the third me kwa kofam me container na me koya musu bi yi container. E kwan ben so na ni fan fa so o di container no. E wo Atlas.
Okay, so that's his question, and you can watch the full interview if you're interested on Kofi TV. As we said, we have a host of connected media platforms who assist in helping to bring sanity in whatever is done within the industry. So we're going to hear from the Ports and Harbours Authority, because you heard the gentleman say that the Ports and Harbours Authority is responsible. Now, whether when it comes to after your cargo is confiscated, has gone beyond the number of days that is supposed to stay within the port and is confiscated, or you forfeit it to the state, whether the Ports and Harbours Authority has control over it or not. Let's listen to the TEMA Port Marketing Manager.
In fact, to say that the container got stolen at the port, it's an exaggeration and it's untrue, because a container does not just disappear from the port without a trace. And this particular container in reference is an auction container. The container was received at the Golden Jubilee Terminal on the 3rd of February 2020. And by law, general goods go on UC, or what we call the uncleared cargo list, by the 21st day, and then for vehicles is 60 days. And usually we write to inform customs whenever we have any cargo that's gone on UCL, and then they would write to us to do the transfer. So for this one, we wrote to customs when the days passed and he had gone on UCL, and then they wrote to us to transfer the cargo to Atlas on the 24th of October 2020, which we did. So from there, it has left the responsibility or the domain of the Port Authority. So whatever happened there is between the agent and GRA Customs. So to say it got stolen in the ports, it's not the truth, because Atlas is more than 20 kilometers from the port. So it is not within the port that the said cargo got stolen, as he is alleging to. Once it has left our domain to customs, we do not come in again at all. And when it goes on auction, whatever little that is given to GPHA, at the end, when the auction is done and the person is exiting from the terminal at last, that is what is paid to us. It all boils down to the process of the auction, which is totally the responsibility of customs. So we don't know. I can't even say that if I see the chit to say whether it was genuine or it was not, I can tell, because we do not issue the chit for the auction. Once we have transferred it under the instruction of GRA Customs, we do not have any other control over it. He should just write to Customs, and they would see to it. Whatever has happened there, whatever is due him, they would find a way to resolve the situation. I would advise that as much as possible, when people bring in goods, they try to clear it within the set time. Other people try other ways, that somebody can bring 5 vehicles and be able to sell off 2 in a very quick manner, and then use that money to clear the 3. Which isn't a safe thing to do, because if you are unable to clear and it stays after the 60 days, then you know that you are forfeiting it. And then also, if you are even able to clear within, you still have rent and other things to pay. So we would entreat importers and any other person that is bringing in goods that they should ensure they satisfy all the requirements before the goods arrive, and they should be prepared to clear within the set time that is given, so that we avoid all of these things.
Okay, so that's the marketing manager for TEMA Port. Unfortunately, in the studio is Mr. George Tete. He's the Chief Revenue Officer, State Warehouse, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. He's also a lawyer. So if you heard Madam Sewa mentioning that everything that is left after the container is forfeited is now between the Ghana Revenue Authority and the importer. So, Mr. Tete, before we even get into the breakdown of the gentleman's story, and for you to give us a perspective of what has taken place and why it happened, this business and issue of containers getting missing in the port, how true is that?
Thank you. And once again, I will say good evening to our cherished viewers, my Commissioner, Kenneth Damwa, and my Commissioner General, Mr. Amishadai. I will say for a start that to say containers are being stolen at the port is uncharitable. I'm saying that because before the Commissioner General will approve a place or license a place for the operation of cargo as a custom control area, it must be inspected. We call it a survey. A team of officers will go to conduct a survey at the place. And the survey, among other things, will seek to find out whether the location is in the public interest, whether security of the place is adequate, security lighting system, CCTV cameras. In addition to that, we have preventive presence at that terminal. We have GPHA security presence at that terminal, and they have their own private security. So to say that containers get stolen at the port, it is just below belt.
Okay, so if the containers don't get stolen around the ports, and the importers, when they can't find them, what happens to them? It means that what? What has happened to the container?
I think that most people are not abreast with our laws. The madam has said it all.
Which is what?
That is to say that when you bring in a container or you make an import, you are expected to clear within a specified time under the laws. When you go to Section 53 of our law, that's the Act 891, our parent law, the enabling acts will tell you that the moment goods are discharged from the vessel, 7 days after discharge, and any further period that the Commissioner General might allow, the goods are on UCL, meaning that they are uncleared. UCL, we say uncleared cargo list. It means the importer had not taken any step to clear the goods. When goods go on UCL, then it falls under the domain of the state warehouse. I call the state warehouse a prison for goods. So anything you find at the state warehouse has violated one rule or the other of customs regulations. So if you don't take the cargo within that period, and it comes under our domain, our mandate is to make sure that government revenue that is locked up within that container or goods is unlocked. First and foremost, importers must be knowledgeable of the fact that the port must be decongested.
So you can't abandon your stuff there for a long time.
Now, you know, for now, our port is one of the biggest in the sub-region.
Yeah.
Neighboring countries are using our ports, and we are struggling for space to even conduct examination, let alone somebody abandoning his goods. From the narration of Madam Abina, the container landed in February, sometime in February 2020. 21 days after that, if you don't clear, you lose it.
21 days?
21
that
days.
That is general goods.
I
was going to come to you on the breakdown. So since you have started, that his container is supposed to contain general goods. How many days are you saying that it's supposed to sit at the port?
It has 21 days.
Only 21 days.
21
After
days.
which what? It's
After
forfeited
which
to the state?
reason it is forfeited. Then the necessary steps begin to run. It is different from when we are examining your container. You have declared, you paid your duty. In examination, in course of examination, we realize that maybe you didn't pay the full duty for something, or you need a permit before taking a particular item out of the port. We detain it pending the production of that item or payment of duty. Even that, if you don't do it, after 30 days, we convert it into seizure. Further 30 days, you forfeit it. Now, February 2020, he did not tell us when he lost the container. I'm sorry for him, though. I sympathize with him. But I have to make it clear at this point that many people, or importers for that matter, think that because vehicles are given 60 days to sit at the port, all other goods have 60 days. That is not the case.
Okay.
Containers and general goods, 21 days.
Okay. Unlike vehicles, which is what, 60 days?
Unlike vehicles.
So vehicles is after 60 days, that's when you forfeit it, if you don't clear. But for general goods, 21 days.
21 days.
Okay.
Time begins.
Do you
to
notify
run.
the importer that it's almost 21 days, you haven't cleared your goods, we are going to take control of it if you don't come within 21 days?
Yeah, we'll get there. You know, after 21 days, we then begin to take steps to transfer the container, like the madam said, from the GPHA terminal or the new terminal, as the case may be, to a UCL designated terminal.
And in this case, it was the Atlas
In this
terminal.
case, it was the Atlas. Now, when it goes there, it is then that we are going to move to do examination on the container to find out the contents. After that, we are going to do valuation, assessment, and all of it. These processes take us not less than 3 months. And it spends some time further at gazetting. So I can say on authority that we don't sell any container prior to that 3 months. It doesn't happen.
I see. Okay, so in this case also, he talked about the fact that he paid duty before the 21 days. He says that he gave the duty, he gave the money to his agent because he was in the UK, gave the money to the agent to pay the duty before he arrived. And now what I don't get, and I hope that Kofi will send me a message or a call in, because we don't have much time, send me a message on what this area, what I'm seeking to get from this area, is why he came to arrest his agent. But he says he paid the duty before the 21 days elapsed. Is it possible that you still confiscated after 21 days?
When I listened to the clip, I heard him mentioning 60 days. And that is what makes me believe that he mistook the time for vehicles
for the general goods,
which is not the case. As to whether he paid before the 21 days is another question.
Okay.
When you come to the state warehouse, for now, because of the times in which we find ourselves, you can see that 50% of the job we do now is to unlock the system to allow people to pay duties and redeem their goods. Now, in the system we are running, in the icons, automatically 21 days, the container is blocked. You cannot process. Now, people feel that because the system, you can do self-assessment and pay. After all, you are the one bringing the goods. You tell us what you have on board. Your packing list, everything in the container you know. So you can do your assessment and pay the duty based on the information you have given unto us. In this case, if customs provides the values for the items, you do your own assessment and pay. It has nothing to do with the system. You see a lot of agents coming to you, I have paid my duty, but the system is blocked, even though I have paid. It doesn't allow you to process. You should unblock the system, provide a reason to Commissioner General. We call it restoration. If your goods are on UCL, it doesn't mean automatically we are going to auction them. You have to apply to our Commissioner General to tell him the reason why you could not take delivery of the goods within the period. When that letter goes there, he refers the letter down. Then, based upon his recommendation, we unblock the system for you to pay.
Okay, so this one again, he mentions that, yes, when he arrived, he realized that the cargo wasn't cleared. He arrested his agent. He came and inquired, and he was told to get an auction. Somebody led him to get an auction chit to get his goods back. And then again, he went to pay. So how was it possible that he could pay again on the auction? I don't understand. How did he even get the auction chit?
Okay, in his narration,
to get his own cargo back.
I think in his narration, he said he bought an auction chit from somebody.
So somebody led him to get it. I don't know whether he bought it. Yeah.
Auction chits are not for sale.
But he didn't say that he bought it, though. I don't know whether he said he bought it. But he got it from somebody led him to get it.
The goods are auctioned to an individual, we have finished with our job at the auction department. I agree that looking at the volumes and quantities of items in containers, no single individual will buy a container and send it home for personal use. They will have to retail it. Now, the only place you can obtain an auction chit is from the auctions department at the customs head office. And it is only one person for now that issues the chit and signs the chit.
Okay.
If you lose a container under the circumstances he was describing, all you need to do is to write to the Commissioner General explaining why you lost the container. If you have genuine grounds, your money will be refunded to you. In the alternative, we give you what we call a replacement. Okay. Now, when that application goes to Commissioner General, it goes to my commissioner and down to my table. It is upon my recommendation that you get the replacement, because the examination, the assessment, the valuation of the contents of your cargo is done at my place.
Yeah.
So no other person can tell you that you lost container A, take container B in place of it. No.
So that is what that is exactly what he said, and that's why I'm excited you in particular are in the studio, because if anybody made that suggestion, it should have come from you. He said that he was told that he should be they will offer him another container for it. And that is after he got the chit from someone. And again, this one, he says he met somebody around the overseas area there, that's on the beach road, and collected the chit, the auction chit. When he went to Atlas is when he was told that the auction chit that he had for that container, the container had been given to somebody else about 4 days ago. So talk to us about whether you, in this particular case, know whether he was given an offer, alternative offer of getting somebody else's container, and how feasible is that practice even?
You see, I have not had knowledge, physical knowledge of this issue. That is to say that the declaration, so-called declaration he's posting on the screen, I have not had the privilege of seeing it and going through the system to find out whatever the truth about whatever he's saying. I don't doubt him because seeing him on the screen, I know him. He has even brought goods to my family from outside before.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think he is somebody who is telling a lie, except that he might not know the nitty-gritty of the laws and the procedures. When you come to Section 4 of the Act, it tells you that when auction goods remain in a custom control area after being auctioned, 14 days after being auctioned, the Commissioner General reserves the right to sell it. It doesn't matter whether you've paid for it. The fact that you've paid for a container doesn't mean it can sit there for only God knows how long. Claiming that you brought in a container 2020 February until now, granted that 50% of importers, even 25%, leave their containers within that period, you will not have a space to even step foot in the port. So, as I said, our basic responsibility is to unlock government revenue in that container and decongest the port Sometimes it is in the interest of the importer himself that if proceeds are realized in excess of the reserve price, it goes back to him upon application.
Okay.
So we want to say, or I want to say something here, that people should not perceive auctioning or customs auction for that matter as if though we are on the fringes waiting for somebody to commit an offense and we sell his or her container. It is not so. As I said, if the container goes on UCL, you still have the chance to apply to the Commissioner General to redeem your goods. After gazetting, you can still claim your goods. Even on the mat, if you appear on the mat before the auctioneer's hammer goes down and shows proof of the fact that you are prepared and capable of paying your duties and redeeming other taxes, you are entitled to your container.
That side is quite great for me because, so is it possible for me to be giving an auction cheat to pick my own container that I abandoned, I couldn't clear, and later I get ready, I have an auction cheat and say I want the same container back?
It is not possible.
So what's the difference between that and me showing up at the latter part and say that I'm now ready to pay the duty and collect my stuff?
Good. It's not possible because you are not supposed to benefit from your own import.
Yes.
Legally, no man is expected to benefit from his wrongs.
Yeah.
So, if you want to claim the container and you, upon application, if it is approved, you go back and pass your declaration like any other importer. You pay the duty. Remember that all this while, rent is being accrued.
Mm-hmm.
You are supposed to pay the rent charges to the relevant stakeholders, the terminal, GPHA, customs.
During auction, do you get all these back to
We
those?
don't.
You don't.
We
So
don't.
if, for instance, I show up at the latter part when auctioning is taking place, and I then come and say that now I'm ready, I have paid my duty, I want to collect this back.
Yes.
How do I pay back, or am I going to be made to pay back what I owe the port and the port authority, the shipping lines, and all of that?
Exactly.
Or I escape all of that and benefit from my wrong?
Exactly. You don't. You are going back as an importer because your state has been reverted. It is only the Commissioner General that has the right
to revert your state.
your status.
Okay.
So when that status is given back to you, you go back as an importer.
Does
Pay
that come
your
with any
duty.
penalty, though? Does that come with any penalty? If you reverse my status and now I can clear, do I pay something extra?
Yes, it comes with a minimal cost. We call it overstay penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, it is minimal. It is nothing that will deter you from clearance. But the real reason is that at this time around, rent charges and demurrage charges have multiplied. So if you couldn't clear the container in 2020, in 2021, you are going to face triple agony. That is the situation.
Yeah.
So for you to tell us that you had an auction cheat of your own container,
Yeah.
I doubt, except by fraudulent means. Sorry to say that. Or
And that's possible?
Somebody had taken the cheat at auction and resold it to another person, and it had gotten to him.
I see.
But for he himself personally to benefit from that, we don't do that.
Okay.
And let alone, he said he obtained the cheat from overseas terminal.
He says somebody just met him around the overseas terminal
Exactly.
and gave it to him.
It could be that the person had the cheat at an auction, knowing that he's interested in the container and the container is for him or something.
But how could that have happened? It means that the person who got the auction cheat has a connection with somebody who knows that importer and says, okay, I have the auction cheat of your importer, let him come and buy, and then I don't get how that connection can come.
I don't get it too. It could be by chance.
Really?
Because he is saying that the
Isn't there
container,
a cabal that
he
can make
lost
this
the
happen?
container at Atlas, yet he got the cheat at overseas, poles apart. So I wonder what...
No, I think the overseas is not the premises overseas terminal. He's talking about the area. He was describing it as the area there. He just met the person there. How they met is another matter.
Person, because ocean cheese are not for sale by the roadside. He knew the person.
Yeah. Now, what about goods that have been forfeited? So in your state warehouse, for instance, a lot of goods are there. Those goods that have been forfeited by importers, can we ever have a situation where they will be stolen, for instance?
It doesn't happen. Especially like you are saying, goods within the state warehouses where we are seated 24/7, more or less. How can the goods get missing? He is talking about a container, and this brings us to what we call constructive warehousing. No matter where the container will be lying, you know the harbor premises is now very large and complex.
Yeah.
From where we are seated, the office of the state warehouse and the Atlas terminal will be about maybe 20 miles plus. Now, containers that have flouted the rules that I had already spoken about, they are deemed to be under the purview of the state warehouse. You get me? If they are seized, they remain seized wherever they are located. So the mere fact that you go to the field and saw your container does not mean that you are free to take it. The container might be in prison. If you don't go through the right channels to unlock or free that container, you cannot take it.
Explain again this area. I think you mentioned it briefly. Under what circumstance would you offer to give somebody, an importer, whose container or goods some way, somehow have been given to somebody, if it's the fault of your agency, offer that you are giving them an alternative?
Very well. You see, when people say my container has been taken, the moment you forfeit the container, you forfeit it to the state. It becomes the bona fide property of the state. It is no longer yours. You have nothing. Except that right has been reverted to you, you own nothing. It belongs to the state. And we are mandated to deal with the business of the state according to regulations that are stipulated in our laws. The container had been forfeited to government. Now, if we find out that the means of the forfeiture was not as a result of your failure, but maybe a failure by the system or some other means, that is when we do a refund or a replacement. We try as much as possible to give you a container that will compensate for your loss.
But that belongs to somebody else.
It doesn't belong to anybody.
Where do you get that container from? Okay,
it's from the state.
Okay, now it's also been forfeited to another.
People think about it morally, but law is not about morality. We're talking legality. It's for the state. You have forfeited that right. So for you to say my container, I beg to differ. From it.
So at that point, any container that you are offering as alternative to the importer who is at loss at this point in time, is the container that has also been forfeited and now belongs to the state.
Exactly so.
Okay, that's clearer. And do you consider the content, for instance, because in this case, for instance, he's doing door to door, and so he has other folks, it's consolidated, other folks' items in there. You have no idea what he's brought, probably fridges, television, and you offering to give an alternative that contains something else.
You see, we conduct examination at the state warehouse. So after UCL examination, we know the content of each and every container. We give you a container based on the amount you have paid. That is the main parameters we use.
The duty.
Exactly.
I see.
Because I would wish that I have a look at the document he's holding, claiming he paid duty. How much did you pay in relation to the goods you are demanding? If it doesn't match, it will not wash.
But sometimes the content of the container may be so valuable as against the duty that the person may have paid for.
Depending on what you declared, it means that you did not do full disclosure to customs.
Okay.
And that is the
because
penalty
once you
pay
do,
for it.
Once you declare fully and genuinely, you pay duty accordingly.
Accordingly.
Okay.
And we'll replace it accordingly.
Joseph Abuta. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry to cut you short.
No, that's fine.
You don't come claiming goods with a packing list of a value of about 100,000, which duty will run into maybe 40,000, and you are paid 5,000, and you want us to replace that. We won't, because you did not do full disclosure.
Yeah. Let me read this one from Joseph Abuta. He says, please kindly ask the officer how long does it take for the letter to be approved by the commissioner? How many weeks? And then says, please kindly ask the officer how long does it take, for the commissioner to approve application for an overstayed goods?
Right.
How long does that take?
It doesn't take long. Within a period of a week, I think that process should be over, because your agent is the person who is supposed to take the letter to head office, from head office to TEMA, my sector commander, then it comes down to our table. We relate to auction unit, then whatever is supposed to be done will be done. But the question is, we've given you 21 days. You did not clear. We've given you further 3 months. You did not clear. The goods have been gazetted. You don't expect that the day you wrote a letter, customs will respond the same day and finish it up for you. It is not possible. And mind you, when you go under the LI, your application is not a stay of any custom procedure, because we are at the state warehouse duly doing our work, examination, valuation of goods, listing goods for gazetting and whatnot. So when you decide to slip on your right, and at the last minute you write, it will not benefit you.
Okay.
As a businessman, you need to be very, very prudent in your dealings.
Okay, this one says there's a syndicate of fraudsters who act as importers of frozen fish. They pay 30% of upfront to the shippers and request the containers to be shipped on board and demand copy BL with the promise of paying the rest before vessel arrives. They block all communications with shipper, pay duty to block the BL, and wait till it gets to state warehouse and go pick it up free. No payment to the shipping line, and shipper loses their monies too. Please check with SOAG on this one. It's a growing canker, giving Ghana a bad name in the shipping industry. Do you know something about it, Mr. Atiti?
Precisely.
You do?
You see, this is an area that is emerging in the, what do we call it? The reefer industry, that is to say frozen cargo. They go there and pay a percentage on contract with the assurance that they will redeem the remaining amount when the cargo gets to Ghana. Many a times, they are not able to pay. But remember, customs is not in to do business. We are dealing with the law. The relationship between yourself and your overseas partner, we don't know. Many a times, the shipping line come to us that this cargo, duties have not been paid on it. And when they write to us, we put a hold on the container because we are in the same industry. They are business partners, and we have to protect them and the image of Ghana as well. But most of the times, these complaints come up only after we've gone through our procedures and put the container on auction. Remember, one thing that I missed to say, under the Act 53, Section 3A, when goods go on UCL and they are of a perishable nature, the law says that the officer in charge state warehouse must take immediate steps to auction sale. So over there, is 21 days simpliciter. You get me?
I get it.
Because many a times we want to give them a grace period. The consignment will go bad or expire. So with perishables, we don't waste time on them. But I agree with the gentleman that it is giving Ghana a bad image.
Yeah.
It is giving Ghana a bad image.
Justice says, good evening. Good job. My brothers, containers of owners should be declared and given to persons on time. Our customs delay the containers to, I think, alert them, something like that. Do you delay these containers unduly that sometimes lead to what we are seeing?
No. If the containers had been delayed, that should rather be to the benefit of the importer if he so intends to clear the container. But at the end of the day, you see, we put up this list of containers, possibly where we have the importers' names, the container numbers, the contents, and we publish them in the National Gazette, as the law requires. But as we sit here, how many of us go to Ghana Publishing to lay hands on the Gazette?
That's the problem. So why wouldn't you look at an alternative platform that you can publish that a lot of people can have access to?
The law says that you either do publication by National Gazette or a publication in the dailies. You have imported a container. You are fully aware that the container is at the port. You should look out for it because, again, the law will tell you that a Gazette notification is a notice to the whole world.
Yeah.
Whether you go there or not, whether you have knowledge or not, knowledge will be imputed to you.
So this one says, can an ordinary person clear goods at the port if I'm not a clearing agent? Thank you. Please ask this my simple question for me.
You see, we have self-declarance. If you want to do clearance by yourself, then you have to get closer to GRA. We'll tell you the procedures. When you are done with that, you can do whatever you like on your own. Yeah. Otherwise, the services of an agent will be needed because even some of the procedures are so complex that, I mean, it is not possible for you to understand. But if you want to do it, you have to apply yourself to it, and you can do it.
Okay, so the TEMA sector commander watching from afar says, today's discussion is a serious indictment and allegation. After the agent was arrested, a report should have been made to customs to begin an investigation to ascertain duty paid, bill of entry processed, and why duty paid but container not cleared. In this issue, I do not know whether customs in TEMA was approached or not. Duty is not paid double. That came from Mr.
Exactly so.
the assistant commissioner.
That is why I feel that somebody somewhere had defrauded him. You lost your container on which you have paid duty. When we are doing replacement in that circumstances, you don't pay duty, except when the value of the container we are giving you is far above what you paid. Then you will be expected to make up the difference or a top-up to take that container. But we don't pay duty a second time. So I see from his narration that he might have gotten the cheat from somebody. And that is why he paid, because he wanted the goods.
Usually, where should people go when, you know, they arrive, importer, he has arrived into the port and then he feels that his goods is stolen and all of that? Who can he come to? Because people get confused and frustrated.
You see,
and that's why they end up being convinced by others.
We have a client service desk at the long room, at the head office. When you go on our portal, you can even access everything that you are supposed to do on it with our arrival assessment reporting system. You can even pay your duty before the container arrives.
Okay.
But the point is that they don't approach you. Many a times, friends will approach you only when they have problems. And I always tell them that if you know or you knew you have a friend in customs, why wouldn't you seek for an advice? You wait until everything is lost.
But it's not everybody who has a friend in customs. So what do those people also do?
Yes, our client services are open to them.
Okay.
people will respond to them at any time they call.
Okay.
We are ready to help.
In this particular case, what should the gentleman do now? Where things have gotten to, his goods are already given to somebody else.
I think he needs to come to the state warehouse.
Which is your end.
Exactly. We'll examine his
So he should come and see you, basically.
Exactly. We'll examine his document. If there is a need for us to help, we will help. We are Ghanaians, and for that matter, we are human.
Okay.
Mostly, we have a soft spot for sad things. It is not in the interest of anybody that goods that have been consigned to people through you gets auctioned. Numerous people. How are you going to explain? You understand? People are going to make demands on you, which are not realistic.
Okay. John from Takrade says, why do we still have used fridges on the market? Because it has been banned.
Right.
And maybe you do this one quickly so that we can pick.
Used fridges are banned. We don't allow them in. The Energy Commission is always on our necks. So that when we are doing examination or something and we find used fridges, we seize them and they go for destruction. We have a yard for that at Afienya. It goes there under escort.
Okay.
It goes under escort. But you also agree with me that sometimes we have these items coming out through the scan. If you package a used fridge in a box, as if though it is a new item, maybe one fridge or something, somebody might not take keen interest if they are removal articles. That is your personal belongings you are coming to use.
Okay.
But I don't think any fridge that is seized from the port can be diverted or find its way onto the market.
Okay.
It doesn't happen.
Okay. Abuaje says, please, is there duty on machinery and equipment for setting up a factory? Is there duty on that?
Which kind of machinery is he
for setting
talking
up
about?
factory, but he doesn't specify.
And what I know is that when you are bringing in machinery, we have what we call a concessionary rate of duty, because you are coming to set up an industry and create jobs for people. It is different from bringing an ordinary person bringing that same machinery for his personal use. But if it is for the purposes of establishing a factory, you have to prove that by registration of the company and maybe letters from the relevant agencies.
Okay. So this one says, good evening, Samme. Why didn't Kofi Adoma cross-check the man's allegations from GPHA Customs Assistant Commissioner TEMA and the officer in charge of State Warehouse? Well, if you watch the full version of the interview, he did call some officers to speak. Where they or the entity they represent, I have no idea, but I think he did make some cross-check, and he further said that he was going to do that. And as a matter of fact, it's following that we're having this discourse. So you should also understand that aspect. Okay, so I'm going to pick international news.
The world's largest container shipping company, Maersk, is betting on a large-scale retrofit of its fleet with engines running on alternative fuels rather than planning a dramatic ordering spree to rejuvenate it and make its ships eco-friendly. Soren Skov, CEO of AP Moller Maersk, said the company was planning to replace some of its older fleet and keep its market share growing, its ocean business in line with the market growth. However, he explained that there were no plans to rush to the yard for new ships. South Korean shipbuilder Hyundai Samho Heavy Industries has secured an order for the construction of 2 container ships from an unnamed European owner. The container ships are worth 239 billion South Korean won, equivalent to $216.1 million US, and are slated for delivery in 2023. A total of 7 individuals believed to be Albanian nationals were arrested by Dorset police and escorted from a commercial vessel called Cheesebalker after docking at Portland Port. The police said that they arrested 7 individuals who will be considered by the Border Force and UK Visas and Immigration for potential offences. French cleantech company EcoSlops has unveiled a new environmentally friendly initiative aimed at producing bunker fuel from oily waste in Ghana. The agreement, signed with Marine Bunkers Limited, a provider of shipping, trading and logistics services in West Africa, provides the implementation of a unit in the port of TEMA in Ghana. Specifically, it includes comprehensive services such as the sale of a mini P2R, local integration, the training of operators, and multi-year technical support. According to EcoSlops, the mini P2R will allow to locally revalue this waste as well as used lube oil into new oil products.
We have to hand over to the news team, but I would read this quickly. It says, "Good evening. I have been following your discussion, and I must say you guys are doing a good job. I am a PhD student writing my thesis on port paperless system, and I have read most of your documentary work and your own thesis from the University of Ghana. You are okay. This one is on the person, and this one says." Thanks for educating the public, Mr. Customs Officer. Many at times people see custom officers as corrupt, but same people false bad allegations and later come for an assistant. Thank you very much, Mr. Custom Officer, for the explanation. So that's a good one. Mr. George Tete is the Chief Revenue Officer, State Warehouse Customs Division, Ghana Revenue Authority. I'll just give him 5 seconds to conclude. What would you want importers to know?
All that I want importers to know is that when they have problems, they should contact customs. Our client services are open. Our doors are open for them. They can come to us for advice. We direct them as to what to do, especially in the case of vehicles. Contact us. Get us the VIN or chassis numbers. We'll get you every peso you would have to pay when you bring down the car, so that you will not have the problems of seizure and confiscation and whatever.
Okay, thank you. As I end, Belco from Tamale, I couldn't read your message in full, but it says, agro machinery, are they same as other machinery in terms of paying duties? You can get in touch with customs and get further education and understanding on that. Thank you for watching the program. We will definitely try and get an extended time with Metro Television in the coming days. So please look out for that one. We apologize for the very short time that we have these days. Thanks for watching. See you another time.